Now to the US House of Representatives, which has narrowly passed a new healthcare bill this week. And it's important for millions of Americans. Some have dubbed it Trumpcare, and it could replace Obamacare in the near future. Let's take a closer look. Now, under Donald Trump's new policies, health insurance would not be mandatory. Insurance companies would be allowed to charge higher premiums from patients with pre-existing medical conditions. Currently, companies employing more than 50 people have to provide health insurance or pay a fine. Under Trumpcare, companies don't have such a responsibility.
Right now, the insurance companies are fleeing. It's been a catastrophe, and this is a great plan. I actually think it will get even better, and this is, make no mistake, this is a repeal and a replace of Obamacare. Make no mistake about it.
One of the most controversial parts of Trump's healthcare bill is how it affects patients already with a medical condition. And some of them have reacted angrily under the hashtag I am a pre-existing condition. A little girl who's 7 years old says her life relies on insulin and criticized Republican Congressman Duncan Hunter, saying he cares more for dollars than kids like her. Another patient with diabetes says her pharmacy extended credit to her broke parents to provide her with insulin. She says, quote, "I'm worried for the future," unquote. And a young girl from Florida says she is stocking up on medical supplies because the government seems to believe money is worth more than lives. So joining me now live from Morgantown in West Virginia is Dr. Simon Haeder. He's an assistant professor in the Department of Political Science at West Virginia University. Dr. Haeder, thank you very much for joining us on Money Talks. Goodness me, under the Obama Affordable Health Care Act, millions of Americans who could not afford health care before were able to. Why all the opposition to it then?
I think that's a really good question. I think the easiest answer is it's politics. There are some undeniable shortcomings that came along with the Affordable Care Act, and Democrats have not done a good job advocating for their law, and Republicans have focused on these shortcomings, and they've added some misinformation, and what you get is a large part of the population being in opposition to it.
Interesting. Those politics trumping economics over there. The central plank of Trump's plan, of course, is to create more competition amongst insurance companies and drive down premiums that way. From your experience looking across the world, is there a role for market forces in improving healthcare?
Healthcare is a very, very difficult field. Health economics will tell us there's a lot of market failures in healthcare, but there's certainly a role for markets to play. Government needs to help markets. It needs to use regulation to harness the quality of the market and the benefits that markets undeniably bring. But governments need to be willing to learn, and they need to be smart about how they unleash markets.
So one of the most controversial elements of the Trump administration's plan, of course, is how it treats people with pre-existing conditions. It does provide some safeguards for people who can't afford the higher premiums. But what effect is this going to have on low-wage earners?
Well, we should start off by saying that the protections are really weak, and they're not even going to come close to protecting those people that are going to be the sickest. The Affordable Care Act had a complex set of regulations that made this whole thing work and sought to protect people that were sick before. The Trumpcare will nix most of those, and so we'll get a lot of people that are really, really sick, people with diabetes, people with cancer that might eventually be priced out of the market, and they will not be able to afford care.
Yeah, I realize it's a very complex subject, but a very final quick question to you. Is Trump risking alienating the very people who voted for him by pushing through this healthcare plan?
I think most people will be shocked. As I said, there was a lot of misinformation and lack of information about what the Affordable Care Act actually does out there. So a lot of people will be shocked to learn that something might be taken away from them. They will also be shocked when they learn that President Trump is going to break a lot of promises that he made to them directly about preserving their care and preserving their access to care. One of the good things that might come out of this, however, is that we're really actually going to learn a lot about the American healthcare system, and we're also going to learn a lot about the Affordable Care Act and what it did for people.
Dr. Simon Haeder from West Virginia University, thank you for being with us.